Back in September 2020, we sold our house in the UK, then moved to Normandy in France, where we bought an ancient French farmhouse with various outbuildings, including an old barn, a small cottage with 2 woodlands, and 3.5 acres of pastured land in a beautiful national park area. Follow us on our journey as Budo and I renovate the farmhouse, manage our land, and take on many projects for you to enjoy. Let the fun begin.
Good morning, folks. Nice cold morning. Anyway, got a nice little project for you today. I'm making some of these here. Okay, they're called English sawhorses. Sawhorses, yeah. Anyway, I've got this set here. I made these when I first come out here. Year and 2 years, whatever it was, right? Anyway, they were one of the very first things I made, and I made them heavy duty so I could put all the timbers on, which we had a big stack up here for all the flooring. And they're all bastion, what we call bastions, very wide joists, 2 1/4, 2 3/8 wide, 7 8 inch deep, right? So I needed them for that. But these ones I'm making here, what we call internal or carpenter's sawhorses for working on site. They're lightweight, easy to move about, and they don't get in the way so much. These are a bit wider and a little bit higher. These ones are going to be a little bit shorter and a little bit narrower. But the key thing I want to talk about is when you make these, you make them out of rough sawn timber. Don't need to be planed, just make them rough sawn because they take a lot of abuse. Okay, and the trick with these is you've got what we call compounded miters. So you've got your leg going that way and that way at the same time, seating into the housing joint on here, right? A quick little story with these. When I was a young man and I just finished my college apprenticeship, and I was out in the big wide world, so I wanted to work for myself. I wanted to be self-employed, didn't want to work for a firm no more, and I thought I'd go out in the big wide world and work for myself. It was scary, right? So I thought, how do I get a job? So I went walking around the streets of London, and you used to be able to do this in the day. You could walk around the streets, there'd be a building site somewhere, anywhere, and you'd be able to go in there, say, can I speak to the foreman? And the foreman would come out and say, yeah. And I say, do you need any carpenters? Okay, he'd say. You're a carpenter, are you? Because I look young, and most young men who did look young, they weren't sure about. They thought they had a chance in their hand, if you like, pretending they were what we call off the boat carpenters. Anyway, so the foreman would say to us, right, the first job I want you to do before you get a job here is I want you to make some sawhorses. And he knew that if you could make them correctly, and he was happy with them, that you could make a staircase or pitch a roof or hand cut roofing. A lot of them days was hand cut roofs as well, because of the compound miter work. This compound miter work and knowing angles and keeping everything accurate, which these stalls will show, is a test, if you like, for when you're on site. There was other little jobs they used to make you do sometimes, or different things. But anyway, that's what I found generally when I was going around different sites over the years. You know, getting the site would run out, then we'd go on to another site, look for something else to do, and that was what we normally do. And I've done it 5 or 6 times in my life on sites. Okay. So, going to make these. This is just out of a bit of ordinary fir, nothing special. There's one other thing I just want to point out is on the stalls, this is your compound miters in here, okay, and there. They've got to be set into the wood, and on a seating cut, if you like. But the main thing is the distance from here to here is very critical, and that's because if I dropped a line down from here to the floor, they would be behind the bottom of this leg. And the reason for that is if I put all my weight on here, this stool won't flip up. So if I'm standing on there and doing some work on the ceiling and I'm right on this edge, I can be confident that this stool is not going to flip because of the way the angles are set. Anyway, I thought you might be interested in this one. For you budding carpenters, DIYers, or people who like to have a go, this is a good little practice, this one, and it will really set you up for understanding about not just how to put joints together, but the construction of why you do it and its reasons. Like I say, not tipping over, and different dimension sizes, smaller sizes. You want them light on site so you can not be in the way so much and you can move them about easily, whereas these big clunky things I wouldn't want to be moving around in the house because I'll have to move them one at a time, where these I can throw one on top of the other over my shoulder and up the stairs. Anyway, follow along, tell us what you think. Okay folks, welcome again. So I've set myself up a bench to do the work on, using the two big stools I had that you saw me sitting on earlier. I've cut my timbers, so I got my 2x2 if you like, and my 4x2, and cut them on the saw ready. I just thought I'd show you a few of the tools I use when I'm making something like this. So I'd use a sliding bevel. This moves about, it's called a sliding bevel. Combination square, but you could just use a square, don't need to be a combination. Handy though if you've got the 45° on the back. A sharp chisel. This is 1/8". All chisels should be sharp. Hammer. Little block plane or a little hand bench plane or something like that. Tape measure, pencil, and a brush. You want to always keep when you if you're getting into carpentry or woodworking, wherever the surface you're working on, just keep it clean, keep it brushed down, because things getting in the way and tipping timbers and moving, it makes accuracy more harder. Just keep it clean. And if you don't need these, but if you've got them, some bench hooks. It's just a piece of flat ply or MDF with 2 bits of timber on each end. I've made these in various different sizes depending on what type of work you do. Sometimes you can put them with a mitre cut on the inside, so you can do quick bead work and things like that. And basically it goes on the end of the bench, and if you're cutting a piece of timber, you'd put it up here and you get your saw, which I'll show you in a minute, and it gives you control. You can push against it that way and push. In the Western world, our saws, we push to the cut. In the Japanese world, they pull to the cut, and I use Japanese saws, so I push with my hand and pull with this hand, because I use Japanese and traditional English saws or Western saws. Let me show you some saws. So you don't need all these, but this is my little Japanese set. I've got all my distance and other saws in there, but this has just a load of little saws in here, different types, various for different jobs. This one I'll be using today. Got this one. Anyway, that'll be another day for that, to talk about that. So that's the saw I'm going to be using today. And one very, very important thing to have, right, is a warm hat, because it's freezing cold. It's nearly -2. A couple of biscuits, preferably digestives, and a nice cup of tea. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set myself up, drink my tea, have my biscuit, and then we'll get into the process for you. All right, showing you how I put these together. Okay, so Tracy's been busy as a beaver. She's been filling everything, gone mad with the filler. Looking good though. So Tracy's doing all the tape and joints. Let's have a chat with her. How you getting on, Trey?
Fine. It's a bit messy, but
it's always a messy job, that, isn't it?
There does look like there's a lot of filler on the beams, but there was quite wide cracks, so we don't want that showing through on the paint. But the indentations of the actual oak itself is still there, so all
let's have a little look.
So
they're looking a bit a bit whited off. Doing well though, Trace. A lot of work, isn't there?
Yeah. Well,
Can I just ask you something, Trey?
Yeah.
Should you just face me a minute? How many bags have you put on your top?
Shut up. You can't help it. It just drips
No, I
off.
see that. It just drips off the edge of the trail.
It's not my job, is it?
No, but you're doing a good job.
I'm just learning on the job. So I've only got to do this little bit.
It's a good experience because it makes you
Not want to do it again.
not do it again. Yeah, no, it makes you concentrate. It's a tedious little job, you know. You just get it right because you've got to put enough filler in that when you sand it, it's right.
Yeah.
And then there's a little blind filler after that.
It's getting the jointing literally over these joints.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing that.
So what you've done is tell them what you've done.
I've done all the tape and joining.
So taping, you put all the tape on.
And the holes that are not covered by the tape, I've done all filler.
Yeah.
And then now all I'm going round is literally jointing all the joints.
Yeah.
And
So
then once this is dry, I'll sand everything down, blitz it all. So.
yeah. So you're on the last run there now, aren't you? So that's good. And you only started what, 2 hours ago?
Yeah, something
maybe.
like that in between.
So you've done well. But you can see now the ceiling is all getting prepped. Tracy's going to rub it all down tomorrow when it's dry. We'll start the rubbing down, and then you start putting your coats of paint on.
Well, no, I'll see if there needs any more
Filler, yeah, of course,
there might be another one. Then do that, rub it down. I'm hoping that will dry because the air's quite damp at the moment, and it's cold. So
it gives you an idea, guys. Well, folks, it's going to be all white. We're going to paint. I mean, some people say, "Oh, leave the beams brown," but these are in a bad state, if you like, in terms of woodworm. They've been treated, filled. All that filler in there is because Tracy's filled any holes or woodworm holes. But it's solid. The beams actually go up over twice that depth upwards. So they're big beams. But we felt that by keeping this room bright on the ceiling, we can embellish the walls with oak and things like that, the windows.
Otherwise, there'll be all different shades of too dark, and the room can't take that, I don't
No,
think,
it can't take it. But you're doing a good job. I'll let you crack on. I'm going to get back to making these stalls.
I'm going to finish this and then make a cup of rosy leaf.
Oh, lovely. Nice cup of tea. Do love a cup of tea. I've had 1 cup of tea already this morning and me 2 biscuits. So, anyway, folks.
Well.
Okay, folks, got ahead of myself a little bit there. As you can see, I've made one up, but not all is lost. I'm doing this one and I'll show you, and I'll bring you in a minute and show you how to mark this out and how I'd mark it out and then how I cut it and that. I thought I was filming when I'd done the last one. I put it on and was chatting away, and then realised I'd pushed the photograph button instead of the filming button. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring you in just to show you how I mark up all this and how I set it out and the intricacy of the legs, right? And so then after that, once I've shown you that and done that, I'll take you over to the other one I've made up, and I'll just talk you through why it comes out like it does. All right. Anyway, let's bring you in closer. So you're in close now. There's a couple of extra tools I forgot to say about. You need a drill, obviously. You want some screws, 35mm and some 70mm screws. Okay. Back in the day we used to use like 4-inch wires and nails and just nail them in and put a couple of extra nails in, but we got screws today and they're cheap enough. In the day they were very expensive, now they're not. You need some glue. Handy if you've got 2 of these sliding bevels, which will help because you can set up your angles. It's the same angle but off a different side, if you like. And the other tool is a marking gauge. Okay, so what I'm going to say now is this is the top, and we'll come back to why we measured it, why we marked this out like this. Okay, but if we come to the legs first, so here's the legs. Okay, and if you can see, this is the marking out that's required, and it has to be accurate. Okay, to cut that, that sets this leg at that angle plus that angle, if you understand, and you'll see that when I show you on the stall. Now to get to this measurement, the first thing you need to do is set your bevel to around 15 degrees, because 15 degrees is the ultimate pitch angle for strength in timber. Okay, so when I say pitching, I mean like that. Okay, if you can see that angle there, whether it's going sideways like that or straight up or compounded like this. Okay, 15 degrees is the key. That's the secret to it, right? An old well, two my tutors back in the day, when I was learning in college, both were in before the Second World War, were they were cabinet makers, and then when they went into the Second World War, they worked on the Spitfires, building all the wings and everything that needed to be built in wood, if you like, so they could sheet it over with aluminium. But they knew their stuff, and I always remember Eric saying to me, always remember 15 degrees as the strong angle point. Right, so anyway, we got there. Right, so what I do first thing I do is I take a measurement from the outside of the leg. You mark your face marks on your legs. Okay, so this is the outside, and then I measure 16 mil in, roughly 5/8, right, to there. So from there to there, and then I strike that line across, and that's my starting line. Right, I always start on the short side. This is that was the long side, this is the short side. So I start on this side, mark it, and then I set my bevel to 15 degrees off of this face, and that will set that line there. Okay, so I'm coming off of that mark there, which is this end, and I'm striking a line down here. Okay, then to find that point where I strike back, I measure the thickness of the top and add a quarter, and that gives me the pitch, so the other corner comes up, the long corner, as it comes up it can reach. Okay, from the short, I mean, sorry. So from there, which is 2 1/4, I think that's about 58 mil roughly. Yeah, it's about 58 mil. Right, I'm old measurement, love an old tape. Look, both sides perfect, but imperial metric's fine, but I love old imperial. Anyway, from there to there, from square edge to there, and then what I want to do is I want to spring off of this line at a 90-degree angle. This has to be kept at 90 degrees, and to do that you set another bevel at 15 degrees and you put it that way off of this face. So I'm coming off of this face and this face, if you like, yeah, if you can sort of understand that. And where them two meet in the corners is always is 90 degrees, this angle here, that's there. Okay, that's always 90. Then, because this is the short side, I've got my line to there. I now put a 15-degree angle again that way and down, and then I turn it over and I give another 15-degree angle there. Right, now there's no measurement specific to that, you don't need to know this measurement here, but you need to come off of that line at the top again, off that squared line, at 15 degrees with the other bevel, and wherever it meets that line is the measurement. Okay, I know it sounds maybe a little bit technical. It can be a little bit technical, I suppose, because you've got to remember degrees, and you're running away from your pitch. Yeah, you're coming away from here, so you're coming down 90 degrees, running away. Yeah, 15 degree, 90 degree, you have a 15 degree, which makes a 90 degree corner there as well. Okay, if you keep to that, what that means is when it goes on the and I'll show you that after, but when it goes on to the top and it's set up, it means that the front of the leg, which is this, is parallel with the other leg. They're not twisted in like that, they're parallel and flush. Okay, I mean, this is probably beyond a few people, but you know, just try and stick with it. Okay, now the other thing is, you have to remember this, guys, if you're going to make this, or anyone's going to have a go at this, ladies as well, is you must hand these. It's called handing. So this one is the opposite to this one. This is number 3 and 4. 1 and 2 will be the same. Let me just pull them over. So you've got 1 and 2. Okay, they're handed. What we call handed. This is this pair. They're running away equally. So when they go on, they'll go like that, and then they'll pitch up. Okay, that's that. I'm hoping you can understand that. Okay, then what I do, get the top, and that critical measure I was talking about earlier, I think I said it to you, I can't remember, but I'll say it again, is from here to here. On my other stalls, the big stalls, because they're higher, it's set at 6 inches. Okay, and metric, that's 150 roughly, 152, right? But because they're these are shorter, they're lower stalls. When they go down lower and lower to the ground, because I want to get my knee up comfortably to lift up on it and then saw, this gets reduced, this measurement. So this now becomes 5 inch. Okay, well 5 inches, 126 mil roughly, all right, from there to there. And then it closes in that angle. And that reason was I was talking about is when you put your weight on this corner, when the legs are on, you could stand on this corner, it won't flip up the stall because it ain't overrunning the bottom of the leg, if you can understand that. And I'll show you that again on the other stall when I make it. So now all I'm going to do now is get my marking gauge. I'm going to put 16 mil on here as well, the same measurement I've done on the leg. Okay, so there's 16 mil. Yep, it's just under 16 mil do though. All right, and then where I did show you that actually. Let me just show you. So when I set my first line up at the 5 inch, I then put the there. So it's 5 inches from there to the top. This is the top first surface. I then put this against it, mark it, and then strike that line with a don't do it with the leg on there, do it with the actual bevel, so you get it correct every time. All right. And then now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a marking gauge line on here, flip it over, okay. I've seen other guys on site make these, and they make them in different ways slightly. Everyone's got their own sort of adaptation to it, but I just go the way I was taught 30 odd years ago, whenever, 35 or whatever, 40 years ago nearly. But I go by the old way, and this is a traditional way in England how they were made. I think in Scotland as well. I think the Scottish make them very similar as well. But just mark these off. Sometimes some people taught to make these run at an angle, okay, and they have to mark them out with a rule to offset them, but you don't need to do it. If you do it all on the legs, you don't need to do it on the tops. All right, and then all I'll do is I'll pencil them in. Sorry, it's a little bit tedious. So I'll pencil them lines in there like that. Same on the other side. These are lines I'm going to work down to, and what I'll do is I'll just do one for you, okay, and just show you how I do it. And these bench hooks, look, they work a treat here, look, they make life so much easier. So I get my saw, my little Japanese saw, okay. I'm going to put the glasses on for this one because I like to be a bit accurate. Okay, Japanese saws work on the pull, so pulling, yeah. European or Western saws work on the push, so you work on the outside edge with your thumb pushing away. All right, but I'm going to do it with this Japanese saw. It's a little bit more intricate, so I work where I am at first, following that line just inside the line slightly, cut down to my line that I can see. I'm working to lines I can see. Okay, go to the next line. A little bit of concentration. Okay, then I'll turn that over. Hopefully you can see that side. Okay, and I'll work from the back side, or the top side if you like. Just put it in there. Again, Working down to my line, keeping in that groove. Then straighten her up, level her off. Okay, just checking over the back. That's that one done. Working down to the line. The back. That one is cut, right? Now, some carpenters will cut again and again, use a smaller chisel to knock that out, but because we're not looking for what am I'm going to say, it's got to be tidy, it's got to be right, but I ain't too fussed if that comes out a bit quick. And the reason is this is a working piece of joinery, if you like. It's going to be used as a tool to help me make products and wood, stand on, work off of, make a bench like under here. I've got a lovely bench here now, that's on stools as well. Okay, so then what I'll do is, starting from the top surface going down and away, right, get my chisel I showed you earlier, nice and sharp. Okay, you could probably shave it that. Yep, so you can shave it that. Right, and then when I'm striking, I want to knock this out. Okay, I've got this line here that I put with a marking gauge in here, and I want to knock this out. I never go with the wedge outside. Always turn it back to you and knock out like this. Okay. Okay, so I'm working away from it. Because the wedge is this way at the back, it's pushing, it wants to go out that way. Right, if I went the other way, it would want to dig in, it would want to push itself in, and then it'll break the back out quicker. I don't want that to happen if I can help it. Let me just adjust my hooks. Okay, so turn the chisel round, work myself down nice and gently. Okay, you'll notice this chisel, by the way guys, it's metal, okay, but it's got special grip on it. It keeps your hands warm, and you get a good grip to it. So that's why you're getting that noisy sound. This is my roughing out chisel, one of my roughing out chisels. Good tool, just keep them sharp. Okay, so I'd get to there, then I'd come down on my line, and I'd turn the bevel inwards now, and give it a light tap. Okay. Break that top off, and that bit there now is flush where I want it, right? I could come and dress it if I want a little bit, but there's no fussing about, that's just fussing. Turn the chisel, now the bevel's to you guys. Actually what I would do, I actually wouldn't do it like that, I'd bring it round here and work it off this bench hook again. Okay, so bevel to me now. And any carpenters out there would know, right, this is fir, and it's one of the most awful timbers to work with a chisel. It splits, it's just raggedy, tears, it's just awful timber to work with. It's not like Douglas fir is much nicer. This is just white fir, nothing special, and it's very awkward to work with. Get a nice clean chisel cut through, right? Come onto my line. Now I can go right in now. Yes, let's clean that nice chunk out there. Put it flat. And this is where fir is a pain in the arse to do. To pare it off, we call this paring. And basically, that joint is clean, okay? So, nice clean joint in there. So reference number 3. Number 3 goes in that way. So it's a nice solid fit. You can see that's nice and tight. Okay, before I cut it. Okay. If I want to check that is flat, completely flat, I'll just put my square on there and run it across little gaps. It's a tiny bit high actually in the middle, so I'm just going to clean a little bit more out. Got sharp chisels, you get better control. Okay, this chisel is really sharp. If I work on oak with this, it's nice. Where this is teary, you can see it's tearing out. Right, that's that part. I'm going to just do this one, show you, and then cut a leg and show you, and then we're ready to put this leg together. Show you how to put that is, and all the other legs are the same. And then what I'll do is I'll get the legs together, all on, and then I'll put the side pieces on. I'll show you that as well. So next, again, come back in over to here. I want to start over here. Get a nice accurate cut on here. Okay, I'm going to go all the way down because I don't want to readjust for you, but I can see what I'm doing. Okay, then I'll cut this off. I'm going to have to open it up and do it like that for you. Somehow, let's close it up a bit. Right. So, start my saw off. Now, actually want to be that way round. So I want to cut the longest cut from facing up to me to the shortest. All right. So I'm cutting at the angle of my saw. I'm going to use the traditional Western saw. Okay. So I'll start my cut. Even better, I've got some clamps here, cramps, whatever you want to call them. So get them on there. Actually, we'll do it over here. So hopefully you can see it from there. Following the line. Now I'm cutting on the push. As I'm pushing through, nice and gently, let the saw do the work. Stays on the line. Coming to the end of my cut now, so I'll bring the saw up straight. Okay. Take that out. Check it if it needs a little bit of a clean up. Slight clean up there. Just tidy that up, that's nice and flat. Clean that off. Now this is ready. That's top. Short side to the inside. Okay, so I'd put it in there. Okay, just give it a tap with a hammer. And as you can see, nice tight joint in there, tight joint in the sides. I don't actually have to fix it, but you get a nice seated cut and a seat cut there, a closed cut there, right? And then that, what I would do now is with 2 screws, I would glue all this first, screw that straight down the centre there, all the way in, and then the second screw goes in here, because remember it's recessed in, all right? So I'd go in through here and bury this screw all the way under there, and it comes out through here, and it's hooking onto that, and it gives it a lovely tight joint with the glue and that. Once it goes off, it's beautiful. I then cut that off. But I'll show you all that after. So I'll turn you off now. I'm going to finish these all up. All of them are the same as what I've just done there to get to that stage, all right? So I'll get all these done and then I'll get to the next stage. So just finished off brushing my bench off. Just wanted to show you this before I push on. Is when we was talking about handed, you can see these cuts now, look. So you've got a 15-degree angle cut here. you've got a compounded 15-degree cut going back as well. So it's not square like that, it's set back, okay? And they're paired, they're together, yeah, they're that's that set, this is this set, okay? And they will give you the pitches on the angles. I think you can understand, if you can understand that, but if you find it a bit too daunting, just to give me a message and I'll try and explain it better. But that gives you an idea. So you can see, if I stand it up, you can see that pitch 15 degree there to create the 90 degree on both sides. Yeah, and that will sit. If you do it that way, you can do it another way, but if you do it that way, you'll get a flush leg, and I'm going to show you that now. Right, so this is the one I made earlier. Here's one I made earlier. When I say flush, I mean if this square edge here is flush, this is flush to it. So this across here is flat. Sometimes some carpenters make these so they're twisted. Yeah. I've seen it done a few times, and it's only because they're not setting their angle up here properly, or it's their traditional way of making it. I don't know, but I don't make it like that. I make them flush. Okay, and then I just put a piece of OSB on with glue underneath here. I cut a 15-degree angle up here, or I plane it. Actually, I don't even cut it, I plane it, and then I glue that in and screw it, and that stall becomes solid. Let me show you. Remember, the glue ain't even gone off yet. But so there's no movement in that hardly, and it doesn't need to look polished and pretty, painted or anything like that. It's just a tool that's going to do a job. But what I'm going to do is when I get this other stall together and show you, I'm going to show you how you get your feet on the bottoms, because they're compounded as well, angles, all right, to sit flat on the floor. So that cut is a double angle again, and I'll show you how I do that as well. But look, nice clean bench. So let me crack on, get this together. I'll start getting it ready to show you to put it together. Okay. So I'm nearly getting ahead of myself again. Right, so I've cut them out now, ready to go. I'm just going to show you how to assemble this one, and I'll do the rest after. So this one goes in there, okay, nice tight fit. What I want to do is bring it down so the seat is seated into the joint properly. Then at the other end of the leg, tap it up so the shoulder, which is this bit here, if you can see that, the shoulder goes flat as well, and it gets seated properly into here. If there's a little tiny gap, don't worry, because that'll pull up with a screw. And then what I'll do is I'll get some 70mm screw straight down the middle, holding that in this position. Okay, pull it in. So it's a nice tight joint in there, nice joint on the shoulder cut. And then I'll get the second screw, and I always do this, I'll go behind the back of this screw that's just gone in. So I'm coming this side of it at that steep angle like this, and then I'll drive that in and bury that in there. And that leg is solid. I can't even move that. Okay, that leg's solid now. Anyway, I'll put the rest together, and then I'll get you back and show you what I need to do to put it on the sides and there, and then trimming these off and things like that. All right. Okay, welcome back. Right, so what I do now is I want to put these on. These are to strengthen the legs in and outwards like this way. Okay, that stops that circumstances happening, that if it, you know, if you bash into the corner of the leg or bash it up against the wall, and this strengthens it all up. These little bits here will help keep these stalls in good order. Okay, so what I do is I just plane off roughly 15 degrees there so it comes down. To get this measurement here, and then 15 degrees off both sides, I measure flush with the bottom of this to the outsides, and then 15 degrees away. So that's how it comes, like that. Okay, to get a nice finish on the edge. And then all I'll do is I'll put some glue on the here, I run a little bead on the top. Didn't need to go out to there actually, but okay, just spread this over a little bit here. Don't get too anal about it, but just drop that in there like that. Checking it's good on each side. If anything, you want it slightly proud so you can plane it off, right? And then using the 35mm screws, 4 of them. First one, dead centre of the leg. Push it down tight, just below surface. Second one, checking edges. Same on this side. Push that in. Then this side. And that's that. That's that finished. In position. I'm just going to plane them off now, smooth them down, and that's solid. So folks, 2 more quick jobs to do to finish this off. Is I need to cut these off, these overhangs. So all I do is keep the saw flush using a Japanese saw again on the pull cut. Okay, nice and gently, let the saw do the work. You don't have to force it. We're in no rush. And then I just slice these tops off. Nice and flush. Okay. And the same with this one. Showing you in real time now, all this. Squeaky. Always slow down when you come to the end of the cut. Nice and crisp, clean cut. Okay, I'll just give that a light plane over with my block plane. That'll be finished. I'll do the other side as well. And then I'll bring you back into doing the feet and then we're finished. Okay folks, so last bit now. So you saw me cut the tops off of there. There's the other stall over there. So all I do, cut them off smooth. And then I plane this arris or edge here because it's a sharp edge. And then that's fine. Eventually I'll just sandpaper all this down the edges. You don't need to, but I'll do it just because when you handle them you don't want splinters. But let me show you how I cut these legs. So you can see now that the legs are not sitting down flat, they're sitting at a pitch, which is a compounded angle. Okay, so we've got to get them flat, and I'll show you how I do that. So I'm just going to put you down here. Okay, hopefully I can show you with the camera. Just got to put the camera down a little bit. Right, we'll come out a little bit. There we go. So what I do is, from the top of the stool to the floor is the inches I want is minus this block. So I want 24 inches, this is 27 inches, this is just under 3 inches. Okay, so what I do is I mark the top of the block because I'm going to work off this face, and then I get my pencil, a flat carpenter's pencil, put an X on it so I know that's always upwards, and then what I do is I go up to the leg, okay, and I'll strike a line across there, flat onto this block surface, okay, like that. Then I'll bring that round, making sure that that mark is facing that way again, flat onto this surface, okay, and I'll bring that line round, and I'll take that line all the way round, and then I'll cut from the inside out. So I'm cutting this compounded angle out, okay. So when I do that on all 4 legs, the same. When this sits down, it will sit flat on the floor, and that gives me the full surface of that timber underneath sitting on the floor, bearing, and they become strong little stools then, sawhorses. So you'll see me working on these through the videos coming up. I'll be using these every now and then, and you'll see how they were made and maybe have a go yourselves. let me know if you get on with it, and if you actually can complete this project, because it's a nice little project to have. These stalls, remember, you can go in a DIY shop and buy them flimsy wooden ones that you can't stand on but you can put stuff on, or you can buy the aluminium ones, which nowhere near as strong as these horses. I can guarantee that these would, if they're built correctly, would hold easily 1 ton on top of them. That's the power of these angles. Think about pyramids and things like that, you know. Anyway guys, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed that one.